Greetings, vinyl community. It's been a few weeks since I've seen you last. I hope everyone is doing well wherever you are in the world. It's that time of season. If you've noticed, or maybe you haven't noticed, I haven't posted anything in a week or a couple weeks. Sorry. It's that time of season again. It's record fair season in my area. We have our big ones twice a year, the ones I participate in, anyways. So, if you're a long-time viewer, you know that the hustle and bustle I go through, and I always talk about it, so I won't bore you, but I'll bore you for a second just because I don't have a lot to show you today. On the other side of this camera is boxes and boxes, and it's floor to ceiling of boxes of records to go through to sort out for the record fair. And the reason why I'm filming this probably a week and a half before I post it is on the other side of this, where I am now, it's going to be boxes, and they got to come over here, and this is where I kind of sort through them and blah, blah, blah. So I won't have access to this side of the room. So you didn't really need to know that, but it's record fair season. If you're local, it's October 5th, by the way, in Edmonton. If you're local, you probably already know that I'm there buying and selling, probably more buying than selling. So if you're there, come see me, say hi. I'll be the one running around, you know, lamenting that I didn't buy something on the other side of the room, and then going back and finding out it's sold and pulling my hair out, that I should have bought it the first time I saw it. Such is life at record fairs. But anyways, cheers everyone. All of that aside, like I said, I truly hope everyone is doing well. What I got for you today is I got a couple new records to show you. I got some thrift store vinyl, some non-vinyl finds you might find interesting, or not. Yeah, you know, they're regular fare, but some really good records to show you anyways. Non-vinyl finds really quickly. Some cassettes, as always. The Doors greatest hits. The Beatles 20 greatest hits. Like they had any hits, like this guy, Bob Marley. Who's this guy? Picked it up on a lark. The Kinks. The Kinks Chronicles, a double album on one tape. Primarily their early stuff up until probably I'm going to guess 72 or so. Kink Chronicles. And finally an REM bootleg recorded on their Orange Tour. As you can see, this is unlicensed. I remember these tapes when I was young at record stores. It's unlicensed recording. Excuse me. Recorded on the Orange Tour. By the way, if you're counting, this is 4 weeks I'm sick still. It's not just me. My whole family's been sick for a long time, and people at work. So there's this crazy thing going around that goes through 3 rounds of. I'm on my 3rd round of being sick, so with the same thing. So it's not just me. I'm not being a hypochondriac. It's a lot of people right now in my area. REM. Recorded live on the Orange Tour. It says this is a live recording. The sound is not that of a studio mixed recording. Yeah, you could say that again. I know I've had a lot of these tapes in the past, but this is one that's really, it was $1, so I didn't really lose much, but yeah. It's like a 3rd, 4th generation dubbed cassette copy onto this one probably, and that's what you get. So complete with tape warble. If you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about. All right, you know what? Some 7-inch singles I found. I found a copy of T-Rex Metal Guru. Not that I need more T-Rex singles, but when you find them locally here in the T-Rex sleeve, I know in England you don't even pay attention to these because they're everywhere. They sold thousands and thousands of these a day, but here that you don't see these very often. So T-Rex in the original T-Rex picture sleeve. Another T-Rex, Get It On Fly Records. And then, you know what? Just for the hell of it, Tone Loc, Wild Thing. Why not? What else we got going on here? Well, you know, let's get to at least one new record I want to talk about for just a little bit. It's This came out last week, and Abbey Road Studios, as you may know, they do rounds of half-speed mastering vinyl, and they'll release 4 or 5 at a time. And the original series had Cream and I can't remember what else now. Really odd things like, oh, they had John Martin, Solid Air, and then they had Simple Minds and a few other things. And the next wave had Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street, which I do have. And then I'm not sure if this is the third or fourth wave of those Abbey Road half-speed mastered recordings by Miles Showell, who is incredibly precise and awesome, and he's one of the best vinyl cutters there is in the world right now. Cheers, everyone, once again. So if you see Miles Showell, much like Kevin Gray, if you see they're involved in the vinyl cut, you know you're going to get a very incredibly good vinyl cut. So this one was the next part of the third wave or fourth wave of the Abbey Road remasters, and a really odd one for worldwide release, but incredibly important if you're Canadian. It's the Tragically Hip Day for Night, which was their fourth album, I believe. 1, 2, 3, yeah, I think it was their fifth album maybe, actually. Let me count here. They had self-titled. They had Up to Here. They had Road Apples. Then they had Fully Completely. This is the fifth album they did. Day for Night, and arguably their best album. Like I said, it's the limited edition half-speed mastered. You get a certificate inside of authenticity that it's been cut. I don't know why you need a certificate, but it's a nice little add-on anyways. Nice little strip here. It comes in a foil kind of reflective silver cover, where the original was this kind of blue cover. If you're not Canadian, you might not care, but if you're not, and if you've not heard this album, I know they went on Saturday Night Live to promote this album. They did 2 songs off this album. They did Grace 2 and Nautical Disaster, which was a big deal if you're Canadian. It was like everyone stayed up to watch that one. It was a monumental moment in Canadian music history. And they did this 45 RPM cut of this album, and it is absolutely stunning. And I'm not saying that because you guys know I've bought things and I've told you if they're shit and if it's subpar quality. Like I said, I did a video on a Def Leppard Hysteria reissue that I said it was But so I would be honest with you, but this one it's absolutely incredible. I'm not going to go on and on and on about it, but if you have an opportunity to pick this one up, and if you want to hear like the definitive, and I mean it's better than the original pressing, which I will probably sell my copy now. It's better than the original pressing. It's better than the pressing that came out 2 years ago here. It's like I said, it's absolutely amazing. The 45 RPM cut process. Some people are dubious about it, but I don't know why you would be. The science of it makes sense, anyways. If you've seen videos on it, and I've been buying audiophile 45 RPM cut masters or vinyl for many years now, and I can tell you they make a huge difference depending on who's cutting it. I guess it's all relative to that, but I can't say enough good things about this album and this vinyl cut. It's stunning. It's I played it twice in a row because the first pass was so good. I had to play it again. Like I said, if you're dithering on it, dither no more. It's all that and a bag of chips. Anyways, Tragically Hip, Day for Night, Abbey Road, RPM or 45 RPM, half speed mastered by Miles Showell. Amazing record, by the way. All right. One more new record, actually 2 more, but this one I had a little bit more credit left over. I've talked about in previous videos where I've been picking up new vinyl. I bought in a bunch of CDs and I brought in some more stuff and I got some more credit. And this was the only thing I got. It's one of those albums. It came out for Record Store Day, last Record Store Day, and there was a few copies kicking around after Record Store Day at stores, and I noticed Those ones slowly selling. So I thought I would probably pick one up before it went out of print, and well, before all the copies sold. And it's one of those albums where I sit. Well, I don't know if I sit on the fence about, but with me, it's kind of in the same ballpark as Pet Sounds, where it's one of those albums you feel like you have to own, but it doesn't. I think it's this is blasphemous to say that I think it's incredibly overrated. But one of those albums I thought you kind of have to own just to, if you're gonna offer an opinion, at least have it so you can listen to it and have an educated opinion. But here it is, Captain Beefheart Trout Mask replica. This might be my screen cap because people love this fucking album. How's that for a half-ass smile? I've talked about this before. Like I said, I kind of put this in the same league with Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, where if this album and Pet Sounds sold as many copies as people who go around talking about it being one of the best albums ever, it would be the biggest selling album ever, if that makes sense. Everyone talks about this album, and it's one of those albums. It's so insanely uncool to say that it's an interesting listen. I'll give you that. But I've been going back to it for years and years and years and years and years, and still to this day, I think it's what it is. But anyways, this was the Record Store Day Third Man Records pressing. Yeah. If you like this album, or if you love this album, you know what? Good on you. I'm not saying anything about you. This does not reflect on you or my opinion of you, because we're all allowed to have different opinions. So please don't comment how I'm full of shit. It's all relative. It's all one man's opinion. And I'm not listening to it wrong, and I'm not hearing stuff. I've gone back to this album for years now, and I just think it's maybe, possibly the most overrated album of all time. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's interesting. But there you go. Trout Mask replica by Captain Beefheart. Anyways, moving along, I picked up missing a couple music on vinyl reissues of this band, and I picked up brand new. All this is out of print. A store had an old copy laying around, brand new. It's Golden Earring, Prisoner of the Night, on music on vinyl. This is like 2010, and they had a really old copy kicking around that I just never noticed there before, or they had it in storage and brought it out. But the music on vinyl Golden Earring reissues I absolutely love. Happy to add this one to my collection. So the music on vinyl pressing of Prisoner of Night by Golden Earring, and this one has Long Blonde Animal, so that's worth it right there. I think Thrift Store Finds now. I think we're at Thrift Store Finds now. Some good stuff. So if I bored you with my Trout Mask replica rant or the Tragically Hip, just hang tight, because there's some good stuff coming up here after I quench my thirst. Although I don't think coffee quenches one's thirst. But anyways, this one is a really interesting Thrift Store find. It's a promo single for the Red Hot Chili Peppers Hollywood. And it has like an extended dance mix and dub mix, and it's from their album Freaky Styley. Was that their second or third album? Can't remember. But anyways, 12-inch single for Hollywood by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'll take that one any day of the week. Some bog standard stuff here, but some other good stuff coming up here. Adam and the Ants, Kings of the Wild Frontier. Brian Ferry, Boys and Girls. This one, does this have Slave to Love on it? I think this one has Slave to Love. Of course, it has this ridiculous packaging. You can't read yeah, it has Slave to Love. So there's the back cover. And there's the front cover. So there you go. Brian Ferry, Boys and Girls. Yazz, You and Me Both, which was their second album, and I think I've talked about Yazz before, but one of my favorite bands to come out of the 80s was Yazz. I just mentioned this album not so long ago. I found a UK pressing. I think this album came out in '73. This might be a 1975 or '76 pressing. UK pressing of John Martin's Solid Air. This is one of those albums that it's always on those lists of albums you need to own, you have to own, or at least you have to listen to. And I was very happy to find a thrift store copy of John Martin's Solid Air. Really nice copy too. The album has to grow on me, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's not my usual fare, but I think I will grow into it. A couple of Roxy Music albums. Country Life with the excuse me once again, with the cover. Oddly, I see the cover with the girls brushed out more than I see this one. So very happy to find one with the girls on it, of Country Life by Roxy Music. And then Roxy Music's second album. This is a yellow Adco label issue, so it must be Canadian. Of For Your Pleasure. This the second Roxy Music album still has Brian Eno on it, and it's got what's the big? It has Do the Strand on it. That's the big one off this one. So Roxy Music's For Your Pleasure. Really super nice copy of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young Deja Vu in the textured sleeve. Not an original pressing because it has an aftermarket. Well, not aftermarket. It's got a later pressing sticker on it. It says this album gold, but still in the textured sleeve gatefold. Maybe the nicest copy that I've ever owned of Deja Vu. So this one will be sticking around my house for sure. Another copy of Thriller. This and Fleetwood Mac and the Beatles' White Album. I don't know, copies I have kicking around my house for some reason. Aerosmith, Rock in a Hard Place. I don't mind this album. This is the album without Joe Perry. And they went to two different guitar. No, they retained a guitar player. Yeah, I'm looking at the lineup now. Yeah, anyways, Joe Perry was gone. They brought someone else in. And I'm talking a load of nonsense right now, but Rock and a Hard Place. But this has lightning strikes on it, which makes it worthwhile to me already. But Steve Perry should have coked out on the back. But that's my opinion. Anyways. Lita Ford. Lita. Good album. This is when Mike Chapman produced it. You guys know this one. This has Kiss Me Deadly on it. But Mike Chapman produced this one, who did all the big albums by Blondie and The Knack and all those big albums like that. And this is when I believe Sharon Osbourne took over her management and then repackaged her from kind of like a hard rock and metal girl on the previous album, which was also really good, and they made her into this vixen type rock star, which was I don't know if that was good for her career or not, because after this she kind of tanked. But anyways, Lita by Lita Ford. And you know what? Actually, I talked about this last video. I'm going to try to make this a little bit quick here. I went to a DJ sale, garage sale of sorts, that just had nothing but thousands upon thousands upon thousands of 12-inch singles. And I went and I picked a few things up, which I said I would show, and I will show now. A copy of Romeo Void's Say No, which I don't have on vinyl. I love Romeo Void, and I don't have this 12-inch single, so that was a happy pickup for that one. Is anyone out there seeing the documentary 808? It's on Amazon Prime Video right now, that app. If you have Amazon Prime, you get the movie app. There's a documentary called 808, which is the history of the 808 drum machine, which I absolutely love that documentary. I bought the full soundtrack for it. And then I've been slowly tracking down all the singles that they kind of they talk about in that documentary. And I found this there, which I've been after for a while since I've seen that documentary, is La Trim, Cars with the Boom. The big 808 boom in this one. But anyways, La Trim. I don't know how many people would even know this one. What else I got to show you from that sale? Copy of Art of Noise Yibo, which was sealed until I opened it. Yibo, I think this was from the last Art of Noise album before they broke up and then they reformed later on. But these have South African vocalists on it. And I love that song Yibo. It's maybe one of my favorite Art of Noise songs. So I found a sealed copy of the 12-inch. Garbage. Push It. The remixes. It has the album version on it too, but it has the remixes of, what was it, three remixes of Push It, and then the studio version of Garbage. Push It. I met Garbage backstage once. I should put up a photo one day and then tell you my story about meeting Shirley Manson, because that was quite the moment for me. That was very nice to go backstage and meet them. S Express Mantra for a State of Mind, which this is the kind of second issue of this single, which has a different remix on it, which is, I love the original 12-inch. I love the original kind of extended version of that song, but it was there. And back from the glory days of Electro Clash in the early 2000s, there was a movement out there called Electro Clash, which was kind of a mix of modern 80s electronic dance music, and there was Felix the House Cat and a bunch of other bands. But this was one of the songs that came out of that kind of scene, and one of my favorite ones is Toke Toke versus Sophio, Missy Queen's Gonna Die. No one's gonna know this out there, but I love this song. Anyways, that is it. This is gonna be it until after the record fair, which is October 5th here. Like I said, stop by and say hi. Follow me on Instagram at NAZZ_Nomad. That's my handle, as the kids say on Instagram. You'll see what I'm listening to, what I'm up to. Like I always say, I'm way more active on there than Facebook, because Facebook is just I'm not a big fan of Facebook anymore, but that's not here nor there. All right, like I said, let's wrap this up. I hope everyone's doing well, and we'll see you once again. Like I said, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching my videos, comments, the messages I get. I really do appreciate them. I'm slowly kind of trickling towards 2,500 subscribers, which is really nice. Always pleased that anyone watches my videos or subscribes. So it means a lot to me. And we'll see you after our record fair, and we'll see what I pick up there. Take care, everyone.